After missing my flight on a 747, it's time to fly on a new airline on the channel, Condor's A330-NEO. And so our day begins after a forced rebooking by Condor after missing my connection on board one of Lufthansa's 747s. I really did try to fix it, but failed all the same. Today's aircraft is registration DANRM, an almost 3-year-old A330-900NEO delivered to Condor out of Toulouse back in November of 2023. There were not a lot of good angles to see the plane, but it is painted in the Green Island livery, which, contrary to their other liveries, the stripes on this one are green. Hopping on board, Condor offers 216 Heiko economy seats arranged in a 242 configuration. In recent years, Condor has completely rebranded itself to be the Stripes in the Sky, and with that, has also created one of the most recognizable brands in the industry. Their business class in particular is definitely a bucket list product for me, but I'm a bit too poor for that right now. For this flight, I find myself in seat 21K, a window seat on the right side of the plane. Usually at this point I'd tell you the seat details, but I've saved that for later in the video. As for now though, I'd like to invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. I make videos of airlines, aircraft, products, and experiences, and having notifications turned on will ensure that I don't get away with uploading behind your back. We are trying to reach 1 million subscribers by the turn of the century, so I'd really appreciate your support. If you want to support me further, check out the Legits Club, the channel membership you can be a part of for just a few dollars a month. You'll unlock extra content, early access, and have a say in what's going on with the channel. My time in Frankfurt's airport was pretty abysmal. Everything here feels gray and a little depressing, and it didn't help that I was screwed out of my original flight booking. This is Condor's home and haven alongside Lufthansa. I've gotta say I didn't love being at this airport. Maybe I was in the wrong area, maybe sunlight helps, but for me, this airport is a no-go. Unfortunately, I'll be back here at some point in the future. In other news, Condor gives all passengers a nice striped pillow for the flight. Pretty typical economy quality. There was also no blanket provided, a trend that seems to be going up. And with that, my time in Europe has come to an end. After spending nearly a week moving around to different countries and being caught in a massive snowstorm, I can finally sit down and rest for a solid 10 hours and 29 minutes. I wish I could say this flight was any level of luxury for me, but being considered the budget long-haul carrier from Germany, they definitely slacked in some areas. But before I make this video a place to complain, let's talk about something Condor has done surprisingly well, and that is their IFE. Condor offers a 13-inch UHD 4K touchscreen display, which, if it wasn't so shiny, would be nearly perfect for economy. The main menu has plenty of organized choices, but the first I went with are the movies. Plenty of good choices here too, definitely enough to keep me entertained the whole flight. The music offering also had a decent selection. I'm not much of an airplane music guy, but whatever floats your boat. Moving right along to the large selection of sports, I'm pretty sure these are not live, but still great for fans to check out. The airline has their own information section that has anything from surveys to something I've never seen before, customs forms. If you are hungry, check out the little in-flight menu as well, with everything Condor has to offer. And of course, the in-flight map. This one is pretty typical, no surprises besides the slightly higher image quality because of the 4K screen. Still a very popular feature on any flight. Condor also has Wi-Fi on board this flight, charging a steep €7 for just text messaging, and €20 for the full flight internet. Not my cup of tea. The IFE offered other things like Bluetooth and custom settings as well. The seat offers a mere 30 inches of pitch, 18 inches of width, and a nice 8.5 inches of recline. Using a little button on the seat front, you'll find a device holder so that you can watch a movie on a screen likely half the size as what's provided directly above it. Or, if you would rather have a table, the tray table can be put down using the usual necessary steps. They've thoughtfully folded in half for you so that you don't immediately see all the dirt and grime hidden on the full-size table underneath. But that's okay, because just off to the side is a coat hook, which is perfect for probably blocking your IFE and tray table, and of course some USB ports, and a headphone jack for your wired desires.
You will find our large range of products with attractive prices in the Onboard shop magazine. I thought you could pay easily.
For the drink service, I stuck with apple juice. This was then followed by a meal. I did not film the meal, even though I've done these videos countless times, so feel free to pause and read the label there if you'd like. All in all, the meal was a solid 7 out of 10. Later on in the flight, the crew came around with some water, and I, being fairly reliant on the substance for life and hydration, went ahead and took a cup of my own. It was good, but not nearly as good as the view of the engine outside my window. The Lavatory. This place was amazing. I don't know if I happened to get the handicap lav or If all the lavatories were like this, but this place could fit at least 2 people. On top of that, it was clean, and had an amazing striped accent wall, which is absolutely fantastic. The sink had some interesting signage on it, and the finishing touch was the trash pedal so that you don't feel like you have to wash your hands all over again. I'm sure there was a purpose to filming me do this, but I don't remember what that was. I thought I'd let you all watch anyway. Before the flight, we gave all members of the crew little goodie bags. As a show of gratitude, they provided us with a goodie bag with a handwritten note and a reusable bag with some stripes. Inside the goodie bag was some snacks, which we definitely cracked open after I stopped recording. I guess today I'm feeling the cup shots. Here's yet another clip of a now empty cup against the same window. Later on, the crew came around with some ice cream as dessert. Pretty good size for a single person and pretty good quality too. There wasn't really a breakfast, but I did get a boxed pizza as a pre-arrival snack. This was not too greasy and pretty tasty for what it was. I've got to be honest, I got on this flight filled with anger and frustration of how both Lufthansa and Condor treated me and my reservation throughout this trip. A mix of passing the blame and lack of internal communication led to me having to take a flight that no longer worked with my schedule. But by the time this flight reached the point of landing, my hopes for Condor were definitely met and in some ways exceeded. This flight genuinely surprised me for an airline that's supposed to be a more low-cost option versus Lufthansa. It wasn't all perfect, but Condor definitely holds a certain quality to it that at some point will have me flying them again. With all that being said, let's see how it holds up against the LegitScore. In terms of the seat, it was a modern-day thin seat with some of the worst long-haul legroom I've seen, but good recline and well-maintained. There was no lack of amenities either. This was super impressive. Entertainment-wise, the IFE was great, but the Wi-Fi options cost money and didn't seem all that worthwhile. For service, the ground staff failed to change my flights to something that worked better, even when I opted to take an extra day of travel in order to better align with my goals. I was forced into taking this flight for a delay that was not my fault. I will say, from the agent's perspective, I don't think they could see all the previous cancellations and delays of this trip, as I was rebooked to a shorter Condor flight the day prior, which inevitably caused this mess. From their end, I only had a short delay which caused a misconnection. The in-flight service was great. I have no complaints here. For value, I can't say it's a good value because it was not what I paid for and was not what I wanted. Value versus competition, the product was still pretty good and it definitely was not the worst way to fly home. And of course, the cleanliness. The cabin and lavatory were super clean other than the tray table. I ended up awarding the lavatory a bonus point for the sheer size of it, easily the best lavatory I've seen in a while. Overall, the flight scored 37 out of 50, which amounts to a 74%, a solid C-tier flight. But had this flight been what I booked, or at least what worked for me, the airline's handling of the situation dropped its score by several points. At the end of the day, I would still recommend flying Condor. Just preferably do it by choice and not by force. Welcome to the city where at least 7 people call home. It's Seattle, Washington. My flight today was uneventful once on board, and I've got to say the in-flight experience was more than what I expected. It's always difficult rebooking with an airline who has limited codeshare partners, or at least partners that fly to the US in any way, shape, or form. Regardless, I walked off this flight with a smile, at least up until I had to deal with more Condor ground staff that didn't seem to have any power to do anything for my reservation. But that's a much longer story than what I have time for. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at legitimate_aviation. Be sure to come back next time where I fly United 737-800 from Portland to Denver. Until then, thanks for watching.
Cabin crew outdoors.
Thank you.
Genau, und dann nochmal auf
Excuse me.
Genau, ja.